الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. I want to apologize for the delay. We should have been on the air close to a half hour ago. We had some unexpected challenges and obstacles in front of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, make it easy for us. Ameen. This is probably going to be one of the most difficult talks of my life. And I ask Allah the Almighty to guide not only my tongue but my heart, my emotions, my words, and my thoughts. And I pray that it is a source of comfort, strength, a source of reality, and a clarification that may be long overdue in many ways. The subject matter, as I mentioned, the issue of human chattel. And I use the term called nigger cattle in light of the death of George Floyd. Someone might say, okay, why do we have to, as Muslims, talk about this? There are many statements that we have heard circulate from the Muslim community. Some of them positive from leadership. We thank them. As the Prophet has mentioned, if we don't thank the people, we have not thanked Allah. So we thank them because it's needed. And it's something that is, as you will see, it is a requirement from every perspective of our religion and from human reality, human reaction, human nature when it comes to the death of George Floyd. How many matters? Some of the issues we're going to talk about is the issue of protesting. Some of the issues we will deal with is the issue of protesting. It's probably the matters. Also, the issue of enjoining the good, prohibiting the evil that we see. That which is considered the religion munkar, something that's an evil. Almost done. Also, the issue of that which is from the customs of the people, another issue that must be looked at. Give me the other mic so that we don't lose the audience upstairs and then change the batteries in the cartons, please. Also, we will take some of the some of the interpretations of that statement of the prophet about changing the evil when you see it. Changing the evil when you see it. Versus what the prophet himself actually said. We'll also look at the issue that people have mentioned, which is called imitating people from other faiths, imitating the Christians and the Jews. That's a topic that came up as well. We could go on and on and on and on with many issues, but there is definitely an area of concern, clarification, and that which calls for being a unit of solidarity as it relates to not just the death of George Floyd, but any injustice, any oppression. We'll also deal with the issue of, can we say, those are my people. Those are my people. Meaning the African American saying another African American is his people, regardless of difference of faith. Or can we say that any person that is American citizen, be it any minority, black, white, Spanish, these are our people? Or do we just say that those who have the relative same faith, they are our people only? The first thing we want to talk about is that issue as it relates to the people. And that's one of the first things that we heard from the critics, those who want to cast stones, point fingers, find blame. And again, this is a time of not mourning in the United States, but a global mourning of the slaughter of a human being live on many cameras around the world. It has been circulated. So we say, firstly, there is a delusion, if you will, as it relates to what we were taught. And when I say we, I'm speaking for all of those that don't have the courage, all of those that are afraid that they may be outcasted or criticized, or as we say, talked against or refuted, or whatever you like to call it. I'm speaking for those that have finally become awake from the long-term sleep that we once were a part of, and that is, we are only Muslim, we were told when we became Muslim, the converts. You're Muslim. And then some said, you're Muslim first. You're Muslim only. And we understand that all of the prophets and messengers, from Salih, Hud, Shaikh, Lut, Ibrahim, we should have started him, but it's okay. Musa, all of the prophets, except two of them, they all said, yeah, Qawmi, all my people. And it's clear in many of the verses that when they said, all my people, that those people were not of the same faith, because in many of the ayahs it said, worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why is it that all of the prophets, except two, and that is Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, wa Abina Adam alayhi salam, they are the only two exceptions to the rule. every other prophet, قِيلَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ يَا قَوْمِ. All of them and their stories, all of them and their legacies, all of them and their biographies, they said, "O my people." The scholars of the Arabic language, the scholars of history, the scholars of both the Quran, the scholars of the Bible, the scholars of the Torah, all of those scholars that write about these issues of people, tribes, nations, and lineage and lands, they all agree, including the scholars of tafsir, explanation of the Quran. They said, al-qawmu, yani the people, or if you say qawmi, my people, yutlaqu ala ab, and is used for aligning a person with his father, aw al-qabila, or the person's tribe or race, aw balad, or a land. So you got three things that connect you to a people. Your father, and this includes your grandfather, great-grandfather, because they said mama's baby, daddy's what? Maybe, yeah. And we know in the culture of not just the Arabs, the Africans, the Asians, all of the people, including, if you will, the dynasties of the Roman Empire and the Greek empires, who was the legacy left to? The son. So all of them agree, all of the scholars of history, all the scholars of languages, all the scholars of scripture, including the scholars of tafsir and Quran al-Kareem, they said, when you talk about people, folk, your people, qawmu, a people, qawmi, my people, al-qawmu, the people, it is relevant to three things. A people's father, which includes grandfather, great-grandfathers, from that seed of the man. It includes your qaba'il, your family tree, who you come from, your lineage, your race. Or we say, because some people say race is different from ethnicity, and or a land. So when we use the term, "there are our people," as we have been told again, and we don't find any other people being told that, from the Jews, the Christians, the atheists, you don't find any other people but the African Americans being told, "They're not your people. You're Muslim, they're kuffar. You're Muslim, they're not Muslim. They're not your people. We're your people." Ajib. Very strange. That's the first thing. And the ulama, they said the only reason that Isa and Adam, they're the only two that didn't use the term qawmi. And of course, Isa, it is mentioned in the Quran in one place, but the ulama said, really, Isa was not talking about his people. Allah was talking to the Prophet Muhammad about Isa. So the word qawmuk, your people, was used, but he was talking to Muhammad. So Isa, you'll find him saying, "Ya Bani Israel." You'll find the issue of Adam. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned, Yani Ibn Adam, Abnai, his sons, children. But you won't find the issue of qawm, people, like the rest of the prophets, being used with Isa nor Adam. And they said this is because, again, check this out. Understand this. The only way you're going to use that term, "they're my people," is that there has to be a mother and a father connected to the scenario. Is their mother and father connected to the scenario of Isa? No. Only a mother. That's a miraculous thing that Allah Azza wa Jalla said, kun fayakun, be and it is, and Mary was pregnant. But he has no father. And Adam, he is our father, Al-Tabarak wa Ta'ala, created him min turabin, from dirt. Created him from dirt by his own blessed hand, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, Allah did not mention them connected with a people because they don't have what has to be in the equation. And the vocal point here is not just the mother, but the issue of the father. Then your tribe, then your land. So, it is no doubt something that at least we're going to say a delusion for someone to stand up in this day and time with all of this that we understand from the religion, from the history of the prophets and messengers, and what we understand on an everyday common level of being in a society and having that which is relative between us and another person, just because they don't have the same belief, you say they're not your people. Point number 2, in line with this issue. Yes, no doubt, we have some scholarly debate about this. I'm not going to mention, for the sake of examples, 2 of them from Saudi Arabia. 2 different sides of the coin. Shaikh Saleh al-Fawzan and Shaykh Muhammad Saleh al-Uthaymeen. Shaykh Saleh, he says, erroneously, you cannot love your parents, your people, your mother and father if you're a Muslim or a Kafir. He said you cannot show love to your relatives who are non-Muslim, including your mother and father, if you're a Muslim. And he uses the statement of Allah, لا تجد قوم يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله الرسول. You will not find the people. Now here's the term, mawadda, which is similar to muhabba. Muhabba from the word hub, love. Mawadda, loosely translated as love, affection, inclining. Here, the ayat seems that he's right, because Allah said, La tajidu qawmun, you will not find a people. Here again, people, qawm. La tajidu qawmun, what kind of qawmun? What type of people? Yu'minuna billahi wal yawm al-akhir, who believe in Allah and the last day. You won't find them doing what? Yuwaduna man had Allah. Here's the highlight. You won't find them showing affection, love, inclining towards man. This is general. Whosoever had Allah wa Rasulah, showing aggression against, warring against, hostilities against Allah and His Messenger. Then Allah says, وَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ, although it be their fathers, أو أبناؤهم, or be their sons, أو إخوانهم, or be their brothers, أو عشيرتهم, or from their tribe or clan or ethnicity, etc. And Allah said, أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ. These are those who we have inscripted in their hearts belief. If that ayat is true in interpretation, because we have ayat and we have interpretation. Understand the two. You have ayat and you have interpretation. Ayat can't be rejected. The verse of Allah can't be discarded. But interpretation can. If this ayat means my mother is a Christian, so I can't love her. My aunt is a Pentecostal, I must hate her. My uncle, he's a Jew, so he's my enemy. If that's the meaning, then why did Allah said, Man had Allah wa Rasulah, who is had Allah, He's showing aggression. He's showing hostility. He is showing war against Allah's deen and the message. This is the condition. Because let's look at it from a logical standpoint of view. If you have your mother and your father showing aggression against you, fighting against you, even to the point your mother, father, or people in your house, that your relatives, they want to physically fight and show harm against you. By nature, you may rebel. By nature, you may fight back. But in normal circumstances, you love those people. You deal with those people. And that's why the other ayah, which Shaikh mentioned, he said that this is not true. Because that type of love that we're talking about is tabi'iyya. It's a natural. It's part of how Allah has created you with your qawm, with your people. That you love them. You're inclined towards them. You look like them. You have experiences like them. You eat the same foods like them. You grew up in the same house, neighborhood with them, etc. He said, and that's why Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told and revealed to the Prophet, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. Here's the word hope. It is not you, O Muhammad, who shows the direction to a person of rightness and the straight path, and they follow it, those whom you love. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. But rather it is Allah that convinces and makes that person take what you show them and follow it. And all of the scholars, they said, this ayah was revealed talking about Abi Talib. Abi Talib was from the qawm of the Prophet, from the Prophet's people, because he was from the Quraysh. And he was also from Usra, the immediate relative bloodline of the Prophet. But everybody knows he did not accept Islam. So why did Allah say to the Prophet إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ? If it was wrong for the Prophet to love Abi Talib, why didn't Allah scold him? Why did Allah use the word أَحْبَبْتَ, those whom you love? And the Prophet didn't hide that. Even if he wanted to hide it, Allah Azza wa Jal, يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. He knows what's in your chest. So, when we talk about the issue of people, know for surety, your people are your people. And we have been those victims of sometimes because of how we're taught and those influences both inside and outside, sometimes ignorances, sometimes types of biasnesses. We might say other than that at some time. They're not my people. When they're cutting up, when they're doing, crime and evil, they're not my people. But we don't really mean that because we know they're from our people. So this part, let it be known. If a person says, George Floyd was from my people and he's Muslim, know for surety, by the religion of Allah wa Ta'ala, by the Lord who created the sun, the moon, the heavens, and the earth, and all in between. As clear as the sun is in the sky on a summer day, and the moon is full when it appears on a full night, he's from your people. Just as the Prophet ﷺ referred to the Quraysh as his people. Just as the Prophet ﷺ, when he was, he busted them out, when he was a Ta'if, giving inspirational guidance, giving them food for their soul, calling them to the religion of mankind, the religion of Allah, the Most High. They bust him in the mouth. The angel Jibril appeared and he told the Prophet, listen, if you want, I can turn these two mountains over on them, destroy them for what they have done. He rejected the message and oppressing you. He said, no. He said, maybe from amongst these people will be those who worship Allah later on. He said, Allahumma la ta'adibu qawmi. Oh Allah, do not punish my people. فَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ كَمَا قَالَ. Because they don't have any idea of the ignorance. They have no idea of what they're really doing. So don't fall short. They're your people. If they're African American, you're African American, they're your people. Regardless, they're Christian, you're Muslim, they're Jew, they're your people. If they're minorities, Latinos, be it what you call Dominican, Puerto Rican, all these names that politically somebody else gave them. No, for surely. They're from your people. If you know your history, Central and South America, those are some of the same people that were involved in the ships and the slave trade, and some of the people that were already here in these lands that we call the so-called natives. They're your people. People that's in this land, they're citizens, they lived the life as an American, they have citizenship, but they came from another place. Guess what? They became like your people. They're your people. The next point. Some people, they're circulating that the protest is not from Islam. And one brother, he said, well, why? He said, as long as I heard the people protesting in Palestine and, Syria and all of these places, he said, I never heard the scholars say this is from imitation of the non-Muslims. It's true. They have said that. Shaikh from Yemen, who was from our scholars and from my teachers and many other people's teachers, this is from his teaching. So this is the Tashabbabi Kufar. This is imitation of the non-Muslim. The Prophet said, whoever imitates the people, then he's of those people. This is true. But we don't take everything that comes from somebody just because he's a scholar, he's your sheikh, he's your teacher, he has knowledge. No, that's not the reality of what we're dealing with. Number one, yes, this is a thing that's not from Islam, protesting. But we have many things that's not from Islam. For example, you don't see, normally I have something on my head, kufi, or gutra, head wrap. I don't have one on tonight. So you want to say now, I'm not following the code of Islam. I should have my head covered. How can I be in the mosque? Moreover, I'm talking and giving a religious sermon. I should not. No, it's not from Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. But it's a cultural thing. Even if you're praying, although some scholars have said your head must be covered when you pray. Your head must be covered when you read the Quran. And in retrospect, that's not true. That's a cultural thing. It's not from Islam, but it does not go against Islam, so it's okay. Sitting at the table. Prophet used to sit down low. Sitting in a chair. Prophet it's not recorded that he sat in high chairs and couches. It's not something we can say is from the religion. But it's not something that goes against the religion. A lot of the Arabs have big couches now, huh? They ain't sitting on no floor. That floor hurts Allah most of the time. We wanted enough praying and being humble. It's okay. But it's not from Islam, but it doesn't go against Islam. Also, many things that are considered not from Islam, but they're okay. So yeah, protest is not from Islam. But that does not have to mean that it's wrong. If it doesn't go against Islam, or it coincides with something of Islam, then although it's not from Islam, it's okay to do. So this issue of the protesting, we say, okay, if you're from Yemen, from Saudi Arabia, yeah, this is not from, their customs. And they say this is not from Islam, I mean it's not from their religion. But likewise, some of the governmental policies that they had is not from Islam. But because of the issue of politics and safety of the people and, dignitaries and working between countries, the issue of passport, for example, and visa process is not from Islam.
But it doesn't go against Islam because it's something that provides amen, safety and security. So likewise, the protesting is from the urf, it's from the customs of our land. It's not like in Saudi Arabia, tell the people you can't go out and talk in the streets, against something. This is civil unrest. This is going against the ruler. This is, revolting against the leadership. No. In our land, it's a civil liberty. They encourage you, and they coined the phrase peaceful protesting. So as long as people don't have weapons and they don't make a clear intention, we're going out to vocalize and to wreak havoc. Our government, our constitution, our ways of the people, it is encouraged, it is perfectly okay to go out and to speak out against something that is evil. So when we talk about the customs of the people, again, just like a person wearing pants and a shirt. How many Muslims here? And they come and they send, by the way, their children, and they come to get education here in this same land that they criticize and bring, condemnation against it at the time of a protest when a man was slaughtered. But guess what? They wear the pants, they wear the shirt, they wear the baseball cap. And what did they tell you when you asked them about it? They said, it's from the urf of the people. It's from the customs of the people. We're here, so it's allowed for us to wear the clothing of the people. If that's the case about clothing, and these are visitors coming to get their PhD, master's degree, and go back home to their lands in the Gulf and the other lands that we call overseas or Middle East or whatever you call it, Far East. But what about people who live here? We're citizens. Everything we know is here. That has to be taken away from us because someone has said it is something that's not Islamic. And the Prophet ﷺ, the hadith is the 34th hadith in the Arba'in al-Nawawi. That's how important it is. Imam al-Nawawi, who collected the greatest compilation of hadith, rounded off for a Muslim's Islam and all aspects of life. He included this hadith, the 34th hadith of Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, where he said he heard the Prophet ﷺ say, "Man yara minkum munkaran fayadirahu biyadihi, فإن لم تستطع فبلسانه، فإن لم تستطع فبقلبه، فذلك أضعف الإيمان." Okay, my God. Prophet he said, "Man yara minkum, man." Wallahi, the brother, he asked me last night, our dear brother Osama, he said, one of the brothers was going back and forth with me, from Philadelphia. I'm going to call no names. They said, before you quote that hadith, you must understand the explanation of that hadith, brother. Because Osama said, listen, the Prophet said, if you see evil, who from amongst you see it, let him change it with his hand, with his tongue. He said, this is part of what they're doing, protesting. He said, no, Akhi, you don't know the explanation of the hadith. Before Osama could finish it, I said, I bet you, he said, changing it with the hand is for the government. Changing it with the tongue is for the scholars. And the last part, hating it, is for everybody else. He said, how did you know? I said, because this is a common explanation. Some people have that perception. But some people give that as an example. They don't say that this is the meaning of that hadith. Like Shaikh when he talked about that hadith, he said, man, and this is clear, pure, simple, clean language, Arabic. Man in Arabic, meen, noon, man. Somebody knock at the door, you say, man anta, man, who anta, or you. Man huwa, who is it? The Prophet said, man, yara minkum, whosoever from amongst you. Yara has two meanings. Either it means with the naked eye, from ra'a, or it means, yara means ya'lamu, the one he knows. Because sometimes when Allah said, Ara'ayta, have you not seen? He's not talking about what your eyes are talking about. Do you not know? So here, it carries two meanings. Shaykh Uthaymeen says. Either you see the evil, munkar means evil. Something that should be despised. Something that's bad. Either you see it literally, with the naked eye, or it reaches you. You didn't see it like me. I didn't see the video of George. But wallahi, hearing it, and the people saying, get off of him. Why are you doing this to him? My stomach balled up in the night and I cried. Imagine the people that heard it and seen it. But this applies to me. I didn't see it because I'm blind. But the knowledge reached me. Man yara minkum. Minkum, another generality. So you have 2 points of generality. Man is for whosoever. Yufidul umum. It's general. And then minkum, from amongst you. Emphasizing it's general. So no one has the right to say, for your label who be yadi, change it with your hands. That's for the National Guard. That's for the military. That's for the local police in the Muslim country. That's for Amadola. That's for the Secret Service police. That's for, no one has the right to say this is the meaning. You could say these are examples of changing with your hand. The authorities, because they can do that. They have the power. No one has the right to say the meaning of changing with your tongue is the scholars, people of knowledge, educators, people of influence, politicians, everybody else be quiet. No, you can say that's an example of that. Changing it with the tongue. But you can't say that's the meaning. So everybody else sit down, clown. No, you have no right. This is the prophet's statement. And Shaykh Uthaymeen, Shaykh Mukbil, Shaykh Muhammad Amin, Shaqiqi, Lord Bo. Many of the ulama of the past, Shaykh bin Baz, we can keep naming them. Shaykh Rahman Adani, rahimahullah ta'ala. We can mention great scholars. They said it's general. Hasaba taqa wa hasaba iman. It depends on your ability to change it, and it depends on your level of iman, because it takes iman. It takes strength. So this hadith, clearly all of the ulama who talk about this said this enters into the bab Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar. It enters into the chapter of enjoining the good, prohibiting the evil. وهو أصل أصيل في الإسلام. And it's one of the highest branches of Islam. أصل أصيل الإيمان. From the highest branches of Iman. بل يتضمن الإيمان ثلاثة. Rather, it includes 3 types of Iman. Hand, tongue, وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ in the qalb. All 3. And this is the belief of the correct position Islamically. Iman is your heart, how you feel, what you believe, statement on your tongue, and your hand. The Prophet said, وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. This is the least you can do in Iman. How can the Muslim, Hadallah wa iyana, may Allah guide him. How can the Muslim, may Allah not test him with that in his family. How can the Muslim, aqilin aw majnoonin, insane, or with his sanctity say, I don't give a damn, I don't care about George Floyd being killed? Well, you have to be somebody who is either one of 2 things. Qulubuhum shayateen, as the Prophet said in Hadith Bukhari Muslim. Their hearts are the hearts of the devil. Or you must be shaitan. Must be shaitan. You must be a silent devil. Shaitan. Or silent devils, Prophet mentioned. Because the Prophet said, Man yara minkum munkaran falyaghayr hadha al-amr. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya mentioned this is a command. You have to. If you have the ability. Tell me you don't have the ability. Thousands of people in 50 states. And they said 50 because one of those not include the United States. Is it Hawaii or Alaska? Which one is not included?
It's the 50 states, the District of Columbia.
Which one is not included in the 50 states? Because we have 51, but one of them is not included. Is it Hawaii or Alaska?
Both of them are included.
Those are included.
Both are included. District
Washington, D.C.
Washington D.C. is not.
Right.
So they don't count that as a state.
Right.
So we have 50 with them.
Yes.
طيب أخي كيف 50 ولاية المتحدة 50 of the United States of America, and we can't even count the cities. Listen, I'm blind and went online and listened what they tallied up about 6 days ago, Wikipedia. They said 100 cities, and this cannot be accurate because it's changing by the moment. It was cities I never heard of before. Names I never even knew exist. Then you're talking about a ticket and a passport, and you don't even need it. It crossed the seas and went all the way around the world. And somebody says, I don't care. It don't matter. We should be concerned. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Also, the Prophet ﷺ, of course, there's some limitations again. If the harm of doing that outward, trying to change that evil is going to cause more harm than good, then of course this is why the Prophet said, if you don't have the ability. But at least the believer, the scholar said, this hadith shows, at least for the believer, he gotta hate that thing in his heart. They said, therefore, if you hate it in your heart, because you can't change it with your hand, and you can't change it with the tongue, you have to have the intention, the moment, the time. Whenever Allah allows you to change it with one of those two, the tongue or the hand, you will do it. Because that's the real hatred in the heart. The only reason I ain't doing nothing, because I don't have the ability. If Allah gives me the ability, I'm going to try to change it. Now tell me that we don't have the ability in America again. They said freedom of peaceful what? Assembly. And tell me it don't have no showka, no power. All four of the policemen locked up. Allahu Akbar. That never happened in history. Allahu Akbar. All four of them. In less than 2 weeks. For being involved in what they would say killing a nigger. This is Allah's work. Because Tabarak wa Ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And we have honored the creation that comes from our father Adam. Humans are a noble creation. That's why Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has made them special. And it doesn't have anything to do with he's a Muslim, he's not a Muslim. When we talk about life and death. That's why Allah Ta'ala, that same Lord who created and knows the heart of everyone, believer, non-believer, black, white, Arab, non-Arab, rich, poor. وَمَنْ قَتَلَ النَّفْسَ بِغَيْرِ نَفْسٍ, whoever kills a soul, he don't have the right to do. Or fasad in the field art, or he does some other evil atrocities. And the scholar said those other atrocities, bank robbery, highway robbery. Well, they didn't say bank robbery because that's not time. They said, highway robbery, meaning you cut somebody off in the road or the street or the village or the sand or going somewhere and you take their possessions. Murder was already mentioned. Robbery. Taking people's property, stealing. Raping. All kind of evil things that disturb the peace. Allah said, فَكَأَنَّهُمْ قَتْلَ النَّاسِ مَاذَا جَمِيعًا. As if they killed everybody. You telling me that life didn't matter? You telling me that life really didn't matter? And we supposed to sit on the sideline. Shaitan across. A silent shaitan, huh? Ain't no way. When you look at the video, it's a testimony that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded everybody that has life to disapprove of that thing. Nobody will agree, except it has to be an evil individual. Min al-Ya'i, from the beginning of the Arabic letters to the end, from A to Z, from 1 to infinity. There's no way. Tabarak wa Ta'ala's prophet, he also said, وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ بِيَدِهِ فَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. Whoever strives with his hand, he's a believer. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ بِلِسَانِهِ وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. And he strives, he fights with his tongue, and he's a believer. وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ بِالْقَلْبِ وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. And he strives and he fights with his heart. وَلَيْسَ ذَلِكَ وَلَيْسَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. There's nothing less than that when it comes to faith. Allah's prophet called it jihadun, striving in the cause of Allah. Look at the people. He said, damn COVID. Damn, I ain't got no babysitter. Damn racism. Damn, I don't like this one. I don't like that one. Damn, I'm putting my life on the line. Jahadu! We going out. We got something to say. We got something to disapprove of. We got to say something with our mouths. We got to do something with our hands. And we're not talking about the destruction. That's a separate issue. Got to separate the night from the day. But writing letters, which I'm going to urge and encourage, we need to make a world petition. You can start right now with the Imam here, who has mega connections in love and respect in this city. Every other city, every masjid, imam, every rabbi, every preacher, priest, we need to make right now today a worldwide petition that this will never happen again. Whoever does this, the penalty is this. We can't turn back the hand of time, but we can set an example for future references. And Allah don't like that you talk out. Put people on the spot. Curse, use profanity, swear, scream, disturb the peace. La yuhibbullaha jahra bis-su'i. I don't like you to do that. Public disturbance is something even your God, your Lord don't like. Allah gave an exception though in one case. Illa man dhulam, except the one who has been oppressed. Then that means Allah is loving. So when they quote those Bible statements about the children of God, what they mean is Allah is on the side of the oppressor. Allah is going to defend the oppressor. No matter what he or she believes, if he's oppressed, Allah is in their corner. Allah is on their side. Islam teaches that. The Prophet mentioned that. Because ain't nothing going to stop the supplication, the prayer, the calling out of the oppressed person to his creator. لا يرد الثلاثة دعوة. 3 things will never be rejected. From amongst them, the dua, the prayer of the fasting one, while he's fasting, the one who's traveling, because both of them are great hardship, and guess what? The one who's oppressed. Prophet he said that Allah said, وَبِعِزَّتِي وَبِجَلَالِتِي, I swear by my might and my loftiness. This is Allah swear by his own might and loftiness. لَيَنْصَرَنَّكَ وَلَوْ بَعْدَ حِينٍ, I shall help you. The one who's oppressed, Allah said. I shall help you, Allah said about the one who's oppressed. I shall give you victory, Allah said about the one who's oppressed. Even if some time it's going to take, y'all just hold on. This is a serious issue. And we have been taught to ostracize ourselves. And it's a plot. Just like all of the things, and they said conquer and divide, but let's understand, flip that coin. It's called divide and conquer. Because as long as you're united, they can't conquer you. That's what Prophet Sallallahu, he said, a jama'atu rahmah. Being unified, being together is a mercy. But and being divided, he called it adab, punishment, destruction. So they separate you, they divide you first, then guess what? Then you'll conquer. So, wallahi, we have not much time, but wallahi, the point should be understood. Perhaps this is why some of the people in the past they have said that ulama la ya'rifu waqi'. Some of the scholars, not all of the scholars, obviously speaking. Because that will mean scholars from every land, including America. As some people have said, there's no scholars in America. You should say there's no shuyukh in America. Now there's shuyukh in America. Now there's scholars in America. Even from those who say it's not, because they see it is, now they're making their own people. He's a sheikh. He's a scholar. Oh yeah? But the point is, when they perhaps used to say 20, 30, 40 years ago, the scholars, they were referring to overseas. But it's a general statement. Some scholars don't know the waqi' and current affairs. This wallahi could be true as it relates to how certain people live. And it's not a shame or a something to tarnish that scholarship of that scholar. Like the different, and we won't name because it's not the time and place, but the different fractions and groups have made it. If you say that, then you're heretic, or if you say that, then this is something maybe outside the religion that scholars may not know current affairs. It's possible. Just as we have people taking the fatwa, again, of some well-known scholars from Saudi Arabia saying protesting is not from Islam, it's prohibited. Yeah, that's for you guys. That's for your society. That's for something that's not from your custom. That's for something that's not part of your constitution or the Sharia that you follow that's mixed and matched. Because we know ain't nobody following 100% Sharia. That's a whole nother talk. But here, as we say, follow the laws of the land as long as it don't go against the religion of Islam. Follow the laws of the land as long as it coincides with Islam. Then we say, speaking out against oppression in the name of what we would call protesting or any other type of name you want to call marching, if it's enjoining the good, prohibiting the evil, if it's that which is despising something like the slaughter of people because of their color, then I think everybody should understand, except those who don't, or turn a deaf ear, that it coincides with Islam. It coincides. You find many ayat that support this. Many ahadith, we just hold it just a couple. And it doesn't go against it. As far as the issue of voting and protesting and revolution, then we're separating the issue of voting and revolution. We're simply talking about voicing the injustice and saying we want something done about this injustice. And lastly, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has mentioned the issue of oppression. And we know that we went from human chattel, which really somebody owned you, in a very elegant way of saying slavery. Then we left that and went to what they call it sharecropping, which was another form of slavery. They said the landlord gives the tenant some land and he takes a portion of what he grows because of the land he owns. Come on, man. That's a nice, elegant way of lying and deception. That man do all that work. You take everything, give him a little bit. As soon as he makes something else, you take, and he could never get ahead. That was still slavery. Then they made the penal system. The penal system for the same thing. And now we're talking about 2020 here. We have so many people that have been killed from the hands of those same people in the name of what we say total injustice of a people. And Allah, he mentioned this. The Prophet mentioned that Allah said that in the haramtu dhulam ala nafsi, I had made it impossible, Allah said. Haramtu, meaning Allah is not going to go there. But the irony of this is that when you have all of the power, and this is the problem that we're dealing with, well, we will never fix this unless we challenge the powers to be. Because when you have all of the power, it's easy to oppress. Nobody can stop you. You feel invincible. And this is part of the whole issue with white supremacy. They feel God-like because they have the power. If Allah was to hashalillah, we know it's impossible. Oh my God, he will never do this. But let's say he wanted to oppress us. Who would stop Allah? Who could stop him? Nobody. And that's why the great scholar of Yemen, Imam al-San'ani, he said, "Al-dhulm mustahil lillah, mustahil lillah." He said Allah is free for him to do an injustice. Why? Because he has all the power. He has all of the power. So therefore, when people oppress you like that, some scholars have said it's a form of shirk. It's a form of blasphemy. It's a form of competing with Allah. Why? Because they usurp their power and authority to oppress, because they know that those under them are at nothing but their mercy. And so if Allah, the one who no one can stop him, has made it well he won't oppress you, then how is it we think that the oppression of others to others is okay? And that's why Allah said, وَحَرَمْتُ ظُلْمْ بَيْنَكُمْ وَحَرَمْتُ بَيْنَكُمْ, and I have made it prohibited for you to do one to another. فَلَا تَظَالَمُوا, so be aware, don't oppress one another. That's why Allah said in conclusion, again, He doesn't like unrest. He doesn't like the fighting, the violence, the evil. We're not saying that people should tear up. This is something that the people shouldn't do. And we understand people are taking advantage of the work soon, waiting for opportunity. But guess what? If you weigh the two on the scale, the tearing up, the destruction of property, stealing, causing civil unrest versus the life of a person, which one is greater? So don't lose the focal point of what we're talking about. Not just George, but we can go all the way back, as they said, to not just Rodney King, but Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and those way before them. So this is something that the Muslims have to be involved. It's idiotic, it's un-Islamic, it's unethical, it's something that's against your own civil liberties, that you remain quiet in the face of an evil like this. The person that says, we have nothing to do with it, they're not our people, they have lied to you. They have misinformed you. They have duped you. Or they are silent devils, or they have the hearts of the devils. Or at least, they from another place. They really don't know what time it is in this land. They can't. Because if they did, they will be in agreement with what we're saying. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our protector. He is our helper. He is the one who will help us, even if it takes some time, by his wisdom and that which is his knowledge and his decision. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rid us of this oppression, to let us understand it's a long uphill battle. It's not over. We just started. And we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us evaluate, self-evaluation. This is the time for self-evaluation for each one of us. Let us ask, where are we with the issue of racism and that which is hatred amongst ourselves because of a class or color or a type of ethnicity? Let us ask ourselves, how much do we suffer this in our own Muslim communities? What are we going to do about it in our own backyards? Let us ask ourselves, what do we owe the society? What are the rights of the people upon us as it relates to fixing and being one solid hand against this evil, wicked oppression that we all are afraid of? Let us ask ourselves, how will it be if the shoe was on the other foot, the knee was on our neck? What would we want the world, what would we want the people, what would we want the reaction of those who seem that to be? We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us strength, to give us courage, to give us love, to give us inspiration, to give us the ability to join together like never before against all oppression. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the mighty, the sublime, to crush those who are the perpetrators of this fraud, to give them back that which will be a threat and a deterrent for future evil characteristics in the people like them. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this a pivot, a turning point for his land, for his earth, for his creation, for his human beings, for his servants, for the believers, for those who are from the believers and the sons of Adam from all colors, walks of life, ethnicities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us light after darkness, to give us hope after disparity, to give us a surety after doubt. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise the flag of fighting against oppression wherever we may be. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبد الله ورسوله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless my words, forgive me for my shortcomings, and make it something weighty on the scale, and to make it as a symbol and a tool of fighting oppression. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And we praise him and we thank you all. Walhamdulillah. Any questions, comments? Possibly. Imam.
No, I said stop.
I said possibly.
Any questions?
No.
Ask your friend.
Me, I have questions. I feel like it might take a longer time.
That will come after Salah,
Yes,
inshallah.
inshallah.
We'll come back after the prayer for question and answers for those who want to participate. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Sheikh Omar, jazakallah khair.